At the beginning of the film, a man named Gabriel arrives at the hospital to meet his father. His father, on his deathbed, asks Gabriel about his other son. The scene turns to the other brother, Elias, who is currently engaged in a private session with a psychiatrist at the restaurant. While he is busy with his job in the washroom, Gabriel calls him and tells him that their father is gone. Elias arrives at the hospital and hugs his brother. He asks Gabriel about his father's will, so he tells him that he left a videotape for them. The two brothers go to Gabriel's house to see the tape. After watching the video, they discover that their real father is someone else named Ivlio Thanatos. Gabriel longs to know his origins and his mother, so he searches for Ivlio Thanatos, discovering that his real father is still alive and is a genetic scientist. Gabriel makes a plan to meet him. Elias also wants to go with him, but Gabriel rejects him. Elias gets angry like a little child, so Gabriel reluctantly has to take him along. The next day, they both leave for the island of Ork. Arriving at the coast, they find that they cannot take the car because the ferry is too small and a lady's car is already on board. Gabriel and Elias are forced to leave the car there and stand on the ferry to Ork Island. During the trip, Gabriel talks to the woman named Ingrid Abbott and asks her about Ivlio and his wife, and she explains that she had been Ivlio's doctor and that Ivlio had several wives. The doctor gives a lift to the two brothers and takes them to their destination. Elias goes to fulfill his hobby, and Gabriel goes to see his father. A young man named Gregor comes out of the house and asks Gabriel why he is here. He tells him that he is his half-brother and has come to see Ivlio. Upon hearing this, he calls his older brother, France, and tells him about Gabriel. Gabriel also shows France a photo of himself and Elias as proof. These 5 brothers all have one thing in common: they have hairy lips. Gregor asks Gabriel how his face is in better shape than his, and Gabriel explains that he has had 4 facial surgeries for it. While Gregor replies that they have only done 1, France says it's because they thought 1 surgery was enough. France hits Gabriel, and Joseph, the other half-brother, comes with a wooden plaque and hits France. Seeing all this, Gabriel runs away from there and starts going back with Elias. Along the way, they meet Mayor Fleming and his daughter Ellen, who take them to their home, where the mayor tells them about Ivlio, who is well known in this town for his achievements in genetic science. He also mentions that all of his wives died in childbirth, which Gabriel doesn't quite digest. On the mayor's insistence, they both went there again the next day. France attacks them again, but Elias counters this time with a rolling pin. France admires Elias' fight. They are allowed into the house, but Gabriel still can't meet Ivlio because his brothers tell him that their father has an infection and is resting, so he can't meet him. Gabriel's leg is injured in the fight, and France gives him Ivlio's wheelchair. Gabriel is talking to France and asking him about his work. So, he says that he used to teach kindergarten but was fired. He asks Gabriel what he does, and he tells him that he teaches philosophy and evolutionary psychology at the university. Elias, on the other hand, is very upset because there is only 1 washroom on the entire floor, and it is not empty. So, he looks for some privacy, and he sees many small animals and birds there. There is also a huge bull, and there are many chickens in a room. Gregor offers Elias the use of a chicken for pleasure, to which he is disgusted and angry. At dinner, they fight over the plate again and start hitting each other. France is the eldest of them all and treats them all like a ruler. He does not tolerate anyone ignoring him at all. While Joseph is reading a bedtime book to France and Gregor, Elias comes there and wishes to sleep with. France allows him, and he then listens to Joseph reading the book with the others. Gabriel, on the other hand, goes upstairs, and before he can enter Ivlio's room, France arrives and tells him that he can't bother Dad right now. After a while, when Gabriel thinks everyone has gone to sleep, he takes Elias to Ivlio's room. Going there, they find that Ivlio has passed away and that his body is decomposing. He returns with Ivlio's book lying next to him. France finds out, and while Gabriel is reading the book, he takes it from him and hits him in the head with a statue, knocking him unconscious. When Gabriel wakes up the next day, his 4 half-brothers are playing tennis. Gabriel tells them their father's body is lying on the floor upstairs, and they don't care, but no one pays attention. He angrily storms out of the house. Gregor follows him and begs him to do something with Ivlio's body. Gabriel calls Ingrid Abbott, and she arrives with some men. Ingrid gives Gabriel physiotherapy, and he recovers. Ivlio's body is also taken to be buried. Gabriel takes the Bible from the priest and tells his brothers to read it and learn some sincerity. Gabriel finds the door to Ivlio's basement, but it is locked, and France sternly forbids him to open it. During dinner, Gabriel explains to his brothers that they should resolve their conflicts through dialogue rather than through fighting. France does not agree at first, but he is happy to hear about her re-employment in kindergarten. Gabriel sees some strange animals in the house, realizes that it is his father's work, and believes that the basement may provide more information. Despite Gabriel's efforts, he is unable to gain access to the basement. So, he enlists Gregor's help. With the help of Gregor, Gabriel and Elias enter the basement, where he deduces that some of the hybrids are still in Ivlio's lab. Gabriel finds traces on the floor that lead to another secret passage, but before he can find it, Elias drops something on the floor, which makes a noise. Elias hides in the basement, and Gregor also escapes. At the scene, France only finds Gabriel, whom he brutally beats. France knows that Gregor helped Gabriel, so he locks them both in cages outside the house. The next morning, when France and Elias come out of the house, Gabriel tells them to open the door and take him out, but they both ignore him and leave. Gabriel gets angry and starts to open the door, and the door opens due to being rusted. Elias stops Gabriel as he starts to leave. He also wants to go with Gabriel, but Gabriel forbids him. He tells him that this is where he belongs, which is why he stayed. He says things to him that he never said to Elias. Gabriel blames him for the shortcomings in his life. He calls Elias ugly and disgusting and leaves. At dinner, France asks Elias to accompany him to the kindergarten meeting tomorrow, and Elias agrees. Gregor is sad that he can never find a girl now, but Elias says it's no big deal. Gabriel, on the other hand, arrives at the mayor's house. The next day, France, Joseph, and Gregor go to kindergarten with Elias in their father's old car. Elias talks to Susan about France's re-employment, but Susan can't put France back on the job under any circumstances because last time he badly injured a small child. France can no longer tolerate Susan's refusal, so he picks up the fox statue placed in the office and hits Susan with it. They then go to the old care home, where the other three brothers, except Elias, get busy with women. In fact, this island is completely deserted, and a total of 40 people are here. There are only 2 old women and 1 young woman in this place. Elias gets very disappointed because he still can't find a woman. When he returns home, his brothers are very happy, while Elias is very angry. As a result of this anger, he goes to the chicken room. On the other hand, at the mayor's house, Ingrid calls the mental hospital and tells the hospital staff to take France, Elias, Joseph, and Gregor. After hanging up, she tells Mayor Fleming and Gabriel that they'll be picking up the 4 of them in a van from the hospital soon. The mayor still doesn't want that because it will depopulate even more islands, and then they'll all have to leave the place, and the mayor doesn't want that. He blames Gabriel, saying that everything was going well before he came. He still explains to him that he and his half-brother are family and should stay together, but Gabriel has lost all hope. When Gregor wakes up the next morning, Elias is nowhere to be found. Looking for Elias, he goes to the part of the house where the bull and chickens. Gregor is shocked to see that the bull is dead and that many chickens are also dead. Elias, who didn't even think about doing the dirty deed, did it last night and then locked himself in a cage outside the house. While Gabriel is leaving the island with Ellen, a hybrid crane appears outside the mayor's house, which the mayor is very happy to see because he has been hoping for the bird's return for a long time. When Gabriel takes a closer look at the bird, he notices its severed beak and small feet, after which he heads straight for home. When Gabriel gets there, the hospital van has arrived and is about to take away all 4 of his half-brothers. Gabriel goes to the basement, and this time he goes to the secret place, which happens to be his father's secret residence. In some tanks, there are dead bodies of women, most likely the mothers of all of them. When France, Joseph, and Gregor follow him there, he is reading Ivlio's research papers, which are very disturbing. Gabriel tells them all that, according to the research papers, their father was sterile. So, he came up with a solution, and he mixed the sperm of some animals with his stem cells and inserted them into their mothers, and this experiment was also successful. Ivlio's first experiment was successful in 1966. His first wife conceived her first child, a son, from the semen of a bull, and 3 years later he created his second child from the semen of an owl. Ivlio wrote in his notes that his first 2 sons were not up to his demands, so he gave them up for adoption, according to which that Elias is the bull man. Gabriel says he is 11.4% bull. Joseph asks what he is. This time France answers instead of Gabriel and explains that Joseph is 9.5% mouse and Gregor is 10% Labrador. France already knew about all these things, that's why he was preventing Gabriel from coming here so that no one would know the truth. France also describes himself as a 15% chicken. France explains that his father was trying to increase the share of the animal, and that France has the most share of chicken. Now France, Gregor and Joseph once again get into an argument about who is the best of them all while Gabriel stands dejectedly by his mother's tank. Gabriel tells his brothers that he is 7.1% owl. Gregor asks how his mother died. France says that his father never liked complicated surgery, so he performed a fetal cesarean. Gregor is in pain that his mother must have been in a lot of pain. France replies that this is why their father used to say a life for a life. Gabriel walks over to Elias and pulls him out of the cage. Elias hugs him. Gabriel apologizes to him for cursing him so badly. After that, all the brothers decided to live together. They have also formed their own families. Ivlio's house now has women and children too. From Ivlio's research, they learned that every life is a miracle. Every creature, whether beautiful or ugly, good or bad, young or old, animal or human, is all good, and life is life, and that alternatives can never be preferred.